Good day, YouTube. It is the 16th of December, 2023. This is episode 6, I believe, of my 1955 Cushman Truckster. This is going to be the Racetrack pit area vehicle. It's going to be cool. It's going to be tooled. So this is something if you are in the pits and somebody needs something, or something bad just happened, or a tire just went flat, or they need a jump start or whatever, if I'm close, I can help. Okay. Also, we did a IMCA dirt track tour in June, my nephew, my dad, and I, and we go in the pits before and after the races. But we were in the pits on the race number 2, and a friend of mine and used to be co-worker when I was working for a living, got in a really bad wreck the night before, and he, because every day was a new race at a new track, he went to the next racetrack and then had to fix his car from the previous night's incident. And so we stopped help. We were pulling sides off his car and beating it out straight again and putting it back on. But we had to share their tools. It was their car, but their tools, we didn't have anything. We had our golf cart, and we didn't even have a screwdriver. So wouldn't it have been cool if we'd have showed up and go, hey, we'll give you a hand, and we had our own tools? It would have went so much easier, faster, etc., etc. And that's the inspiration for this vehicle. So what we're about to do now is getting into the fun part. So for the most part, that structure I built on the back, the white structure, is it's painted, and I put it back on. Obviously, I took it off the lift. It's gonna need a bunch of touch up and stuff. It's not, the paint isn't perfect yet, but not everything needs to be perfect because a lot of it gets covered with aluminum and such. So I think it's a good time to stop painting it and trying to make everything perfect, because I'm burning a lot of time, putting a lot of paint on it. Things aren't going to start fitting good because it's got so much paint on it and stuff. So let's just get the thing more together, and then at the end we'll go back and maybe we'll do some light sanding and some touch-up painting, if you will, to make the finish a little bit better. Because again, most of this gets covered with the white aluminum, etc. So the next thing we're going to do is get this bolt head done, and this will be this front. Okay, you can see that I've actually been working quite a little bit on it off camera, and I've got my nut certs in to bolt this piece here. If you've been watching the whole series of these videos, my goal was to have a C-cab look to it. So to have something here to give it some C-cab, vibe, because it's kind of vintage, but it's not that vintage. But I wanted it to have a look, and I didn't want it just to look all squared, because quite honestly, this whole square thing on the back of something that's got some vintage to it, it should have some shape to it. And so that was on my plan when I first introduced this project 6 videos ago. So I have built that, and I have painted that. Again, it's not perfectly painted. It's going to have some touch-up, but I did the front, this bulkhead piece, if you will, out of wood, because on the inside, we're going to put all the electronics. So let's open the side. Okay. So on this inside piece, here, we got to put the deck back in, which is sitting over there. Okay. We'll put this deck in from, fills up this space. We have a battery to start the Cushman. We have a battery to run all the electrical on this thing. We have an air compressor and a generator. Okay, so all those need to get in place so that we can put all the other electrical items on the bulkhead. Okay, those items will include, but are not limited to, a big inverter, which is basically going to run everything. The only purpose of the generator is going to be to charge the battery. Everything's going to run on the inverter. That's the point. I could pull up. It's not making noise. And, I could have the air compressor already pressurized. And if somebody needs something to power, run a battery charger, we've got cell phone chargers and stuff, all that kind of stuff all built into this thing, right? So it is power ready to happen. We have fuse boxes, we have relays, we have flasher units, we have battery charger itself, which I haven't purchased yet. I want to find one that fits well in here and can be powered by something less than the 600 watt generator that is going to be located in here. So, do you want to see the bulkhead that I've built? Here it is. Okay. You can see I flipped it over to give it its second coat of paint. So when I fit it into my workmate over there, I was unable to paint that top piece. So that's one of the pieces. It's going to have to get some touch up, but the rest of it is all painted. So this is the driver's compartment side, and then the back side is where everything's going to mount. So it fits pretty tight, fits pretty good. I'm not saying this whole thing is a super precision piece of engineering, but let's set this back down. But it's pretty good. I'm good with it. I'm gonna set you up right here and see if every time you add a coat of paint, it fits just a little bit tighter, right? So. Yep. And here we go. Going to need a hammer and a piece of wood. Because this is the last time I'm going to test fit this. Alright. Hopefully my bolt holes still line up. I drilled them all the way through. Still got to go at the bottom. Oh, it's just a little springy is all. So I'd say I could bolt that in now. Again, I put nut certs in it, so they've got 1/4 20 threaded inserts in there. And yeah, so what do you think of the look? Yeah, it's C-cab-ish, right? Adds a little style, a little flair. Is what the point was to do it in the first place, right? Add a little style, a little flair. I like it. I do. I really like it. So let me get some bolts in that thing, because the fun part is about to begin. For me, anyway, is mounting all of the stuff. And then we can start wiring. And then we can start drilling all the steel to put all the lights in. And we're talking hundreds of them, okay? This is, there's a lot of work ahead of us here. And, the other thing we got to do is make this removable without, disconnecting a zillion wires. I may have to come up with a connector to unplug so the whole thing can come off, because there's going to be some lighting related to the rest of the, the orange part of this machine that's got to be, disconnected down there somehow so the two can separate. I don't see the need to pull this off many more times. Obviously we need to sandblast the orange piece of this and paint it, but after that it should be able to just stay together. But okay, let me get the bulkhead, I'm gonna call it, bolted to the rest of the machine, and then the fun part will be starting to lay out all of the equipment. Here we go. All right, well, I've just been kind of cruising along this morning, kind of slow, but I've been putting everything in, starting with the big stuff, kind of working my way down. So I put the hose reel and the cord reel back up into their brackets. I placed the 2 batteries. Again, the one on the right starts the vehicle. It'll be completely separate from the deep cycle battery, which will run the inverter, which will run everything that needs power. That's the air compressor I chose. It wasn't the one I originally chose for this, but this has the smallest footprint and allows everything to be installed. And then again, the generator will probably just run a battery charger, just to keep the battery charged. You know, in the off hours, well, this thing isn't being used. If it doesn't have, you know, shore power or something, the idea is at the beginning of the night that battery's 100%, should last all evening easily, because you know most of the time this thing isn't going to do anything but, you know, appear and to give me transportation in and around the pit area. So I got the inverter mounted. It's a 1,000 watt continuous 2,000 watt. It's a Freedom, I think, inverter. Is yard sale find. So we've got to get probably a junction box. We'll use a cord, make a junction box. Got to feed the 2 outlets and the cord reel, and that will leave 1 outlet available at the inverter, and then power up those outlets and USB chargers. And then there's of course an outlet on the light itself, so that should be plenty. Then I have the following. I have 6 of these LED lights. They are the perfect size. I looked very hard and found a really good light. I demoed these on a previous video. They'll install this way, centered there. Yeah, they fit really, really good. They come with little clips that I can rivet here and here. I'll probably put a dab of silicone on them so they don't rattle or fall off. And we'll probably drill a hole here, possibly, to get the wires out and in and out. We'll figure that out as we go. I can't drill up here because it'll smash. So we'll have to figure out how we get the wires routed around. I want it to be pretty clean. And I bought a bunch of 3/4 inch grommets when I have to leave this channel to like jump to this channel. Okay, so we'll drill 3/4 holes because that's the same size as all the lights. Did I show you all the lights? Probably not. So this is gonna get, I bought 300 lights. Okay, these are the lights, and they have a 3/4 inch hole, and then that grommet fits in, and then the lights fit in. So they'll be amber, clear, yep. And they're going everywhere, so completely along this, probably along this, in the back, and everywhere. So we'll get to that later. It's gonna be a whole lot of work to put those in, but we'll get there. I got to put these interior lights, these LEDs I just showed you. There'll be 1 on each side. There'll be at least 2 on the back. I think that would be acceptable to put 2 on the back. Probably drill a hole with a grommet here and here to get the wires over here, and then some sort of a jumper in this neck of the woods. So we'll figure that out as we go. This is the brake light. It's going to go back here. I have yet to buy the tail lights for this thing. I need to do that, and the switches and stuff for the handlebars to make turn signals, horn, that kind of thing. I have a horn somewhere. So here are our toggle switches, which will probably go, I'll probably have to cut a square hole in that plywood, then cut a piece of aluminum diamond plate with a hole behind it so we can put the switches in and have a switch plate. It'd be nice to have one on each side, possibly a different layout, but have one on each side so it's kind of balanced. We'll put voltmeters, digital voltmeters for both batteries, So probably have one side by side. One will be starter battery, one will be house battery. What else we got? A box of relays. We're not going to let anything run on the switches probably. Gives me a lot of options when I put a relay in, and it makes everything last good. I did a separate video on this alternating flasher. This is what's going to make the white and amber lights. So these lights are going to be close together along this back, right? And along this one here, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, amber, white, and then I can run all the whites or all the ambers or flash them. Amber, white, amber, white, amber, white. The whole cart, amber, white, amber, white. That's going to be what that's going to be. This is fuse box I bought for this. I bought 2 of them just in case. I don't mind having one for a spare. Really good fuse box. Has a little LED indicator. Should a fuse get blown, the indicator will illuminate. This was a yard sale find. It's a AM/FM radio, supposed to have an auxiliary for a golf cart, ATV, something like that. Thought it would be perfect for this vehicle. And this is a pair of Sansui speakers, probably from the 90s or something. They're probably really good speakers. I've had them for decades. Yard sale find again. But I went to use these one day in something, and they're not a standard 6.5-inch speaker. They're slightly smaller, so they don't fit a factory install. So I just kept them for a custom install. I get to cut the size, i.e. these will work fine for that. So the ideal ticket is I need to be able to plug this radio into here. So this is your cheap Baofeng radio. Okay, we have programmed in the receiver frequency. So you go to a racetrack, the track officials can communicate with the drivers one way. The drivers cannot communicate via radio with anybody. That would be illegal, actually. They're not allowed to communicate to their pits or to the officials, but there's a one-way radio system, we just call them receivers, that the officials can communicate with the drivers. It is mandatory that every driver have one. Information about, green flags coming up, yellow flag, red flag, emergency, all stop, go to the pits, go to tech inspection, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is done over the receiver radio. And I want to be able to connect this radio via, the headphone jack, which I have, the earpiece and such. But I got a couple of these radios. To the auxiliary of this radio. And I've never had this out of the package, so I need to do that and look into that. There's all the vehicles this is ideal for. Funny there's not a 55 Cushman on there. We'll have to add one. Anyway, I'll have to dig in. So this is going to mount on the driver's side of this board somewhere, on one side or another. The speakers will cut in up here so they'll be protected from the roof. I'll have to get them down below the steel, so somewhere in here on both sides. Again, I do want switch panels in this neck of the woods, so the radio will be in here below the speaker, over there below the speaker, something like that. So all the details I need to work out. Things I haven't dialed in on, and I'll need to dial in on today or soon, are controls for the handlebars. So I have headlights, taillights, turn signals, horn. And I don't like this brake cable. It's the original cable. It's probably used up. It does work, but not very good. Still a long way to go on this thing, don't get me wrong, but I got to get some of these parts coming. I also do not have brake lights or tail lights ordered for this. It only ever had one on this left side. There's nothing on the right side. So I need to decide what to do. I might cut them into the fenders that I have yet to build, or something, or maybe I mount them back there. We still got the bumper to build, so we still got a way. So for now, I can probably just get the wiring back here for brake lights, tail lights, and focus more on the clearance lights and things. I have the eye level brake light going on. So I need to start drawing out the wiring diagram for this because it's fairly complicated. Like, it's very complicated, but it's going to be very, very cool. So, all right, let me continue. I'm going to unbox some stuff, start getting a feel for this stuff, and get everything kind of placed. I need to go see about a battery charger. And it's going to be as big a charger as this generator will run. I think that's 450 watts rated or something like that. So I'll have to dig in on these battery chargers and, again, get the biggest one I think that will handle. And then we got to find a place to mount it. So, all right, guys, here we go. All right, guys, it's about a day later. Yesterday, I went to put the radio in. The one I got at a yard sale so many months ago, I drilled all the holes, I mounted it, we hooked it up, and nothing worked. I couldn't get it to turn on. Tried everything, fiddled with it for an hour, actually took it apart. It's dead. So, dang. And turns out that radio is $300. And I ain't spending $300 on a radio for this. It's not that important. So I ordered another ATV type radio on Amazon. Be here tomorrow. So that was a bummer. Kind of bummed me out. So this morning, we got some other stuff mounted anyway. Not making that great of progress. I don't know why. Just not getting that far. Anyway, we got the 2 fuse blocks mounted. The cover is not on them currently. Okay. And then we put in a bunch of the relays. I'm not sure how many I'm going to need. I haven't drawn this out. That is the alternating flasher for the amber and white LED clearance lights on this that will turn into kind of emergency flashers, if you will. They'll be plentiful on here. And then I got started kind of laying out and drilling holes for all of the lights, and ran into another snag. I'll show you what we're doing amongst the mess. Oh yeah, I put this light in right here. That's just, an LED like interior light. It's really a perfect fit along that piece of steel. Has a couple of clips that we screwed in here and here, and then it just clipped in. It's real sturdy. I drilled a hole and put a 3/4 inch grommet in here. So the wires will disappear, and then maybe over here we drill another hole for them to reappear and come back over there. The idea is to keep it clean. So these are the lights that are going in all those little holes, and these are the grommets. One thing I didn't think of, but not like there was an option, is these are set up for really thick metal. You see how the distance between here and here? Yeah, that's a bummer. Because, they're the correct diameter and everything, but they don't fit the depth. Whoa, almost dropped you on the floor. See what I mean? This is the 3/4 inch grommets that I bought, and they're actually a pretty good fit. I'll show you what I mean. Let's put one of the lights in. So if I put the light in here, they're still loosey-goosey, and that's no good. Okay. But if I put the light into the grommet, which is not designed to hold a light, it's actually a pretty good fit with a tiny little bit of silicone sealant on it to glue it in place. That would hold it well, and it looks good. but I need like a couple hundred of them. They come in a pack of 20. They're $7 or $8 for a pack of 20. I can't find a bigger quantity. I ordered 3 more bags so far, so that gives me a total of 80, but I'm going to need some for more than just lights. That's how they come. I spent a lot of time looking for a package of 100 for 10, 12 bucks or something. Didn't come up with it, so I am going to try to glue these in. I just picked up some adhesive type silicone. I'm going to glue a couple of these in, let them sit overnight. See what happens to them in the morning. Hopefully I can live with them. So I've got a lot more holes to drill, obviously. 23 exactly on each side. So it'll go amber white, amber white, amber white, all the way to the end, and then it'll be amber white and then red at the end. The red's supposed to be your end. Show the tail of your vehicle, so we'll use red on the back. And then we'll go red, white, red, white, red, white. I have way more reds than I'll need. That's okay. So I'm just going to continue pushing. Give you an update tomorrow-ish or something there. And kind of go from there. I don't know what else to tell you today. It's not been that productive, but sometimes you just got to grind through it. So yeah, we'll just keep grinding. All right, catch you tomorrow. All right, guys, it's been actually a couple of days. Not a ton of progress. Took half a day off yesterday. My wife and I goofed off a little bit. Here's where we're at. The radio that I had bought at a yard sale was junk. Didn't work at all. Turned it on, didn't work. I don't think it's ever been out of the package, but I bought it used. It's been sitting on somebody's shelf for years. I looked it up. I was going to buy the same one because I'd already drilled holes and stuff in my bulkhead to mount it and everything. And, it's $300 new. And decided I wasn't going to spend $300 for it for occasional use. So I went on Amazon and I bought this one. It's a motorcycle radio. I think it was $60 or something. It's one of the cheapest things out there. If you go to Amazon, search motorcycle radio, you'll find this one. But the minimum that it had to do for me was, it would have been nice if it was Bluetooth, and actually the one I had before was not Bluetooth, but I needed the auxiliary in. This actually has a couple ports for USB and a memory card for your MP3s or whatever. But it has a plug, which I have put back out this hole here, and a cord with a 1/8" stereo jack on it, so I can plug in my receiver radio. It's actually a Baofeng 2-way radio that will one-way receive the receiver frequency at every dirt track that we go to anyway. I can't speak for everything, but and I've ordered a pouch or a holster to put the radio in this area here, and then it will just plug in. That way, every racer is required to have one, but of course it attaches to their helmet, plugs in, so they can hear it in their helmet only. And sometimes there's information on the receiver that everybody would like to hear, but if you don't have your helmet on and the receiver radio on, then you're not going to hear it, i.e. you're not on the track, you're not going to hear it. So this might be a good thing to have, where I can have that information coming out the speakers and being played where people can hear it that need to hear it. So this radio works fine. I did temporarily connect it and turned it on, and it does everything it needs to do. And through these vintage Sansui speakers that I put in, actually it doesn't sound too bad. It's got an equalizer setting, and I found a setting that actually sounds pretty good. Is it great? Nope. Pretty good and loud enough, so good enough. I also ordered a couple of these so we can put 2 of them in. So this is a digital voltmeter and a USB output for phone charging, etc. And you can actually turn it on and off. Okay, and then it's got a cigarette lighter plug next to it. what I call, or a power port, whichever you prefer. And it is ready to go. Probably can pick up a charger for the Baofeng radio. It will go there. So we're all set up over here to mount this again. So I'm not positive how this is all going to lay out. I bought 6 switches, so I built 2 identical panels. I anticipate the top switch to be lighting. I might put a light here. And I'm not sure what the other 2 switches are going to be for. This will develop over the next few days. So again, I've laid out both sides symmetrically. I had a bunch of that aluminum diamond plate. I cut 2 pieces on my metal shear, and we'll get those mounted there. So I drilled some holes on this one. So this is how those power outlets and stuff come in a little bag. So they'll fit through these 2 holes. We'll cut this square out here and put this switch panel in. So they'll match side to side, and we can access the wiring from the rear. Okay, so starting to get a little crowded, but we're making room for everything, and so far nothing's running into each other. I don't think that generator will run into anything. It'll slide back to here. Yeah, so it's gonna be cool. I ordered a couple of fire extinguishers, a little different than you're used to. Actually seen for years as little aerosol cans. And I watched a guy who was kind of our pit boss years and years ago, use 1 can for 3 or 4 separate fires, like the whole season. He carried it on his belt loop. And anyway, that's what I've ordered. They're about 1 foot high. They're going to mount right here. So they'll come up about this high, and there's about 3 1/3 inch diameter, and it comes with a little bracket. So hopefully the bracket's robust. We can mount those there. They shouldn't be too much visible behind my little C-cab deal. Probably a little bit visible right there, but hey, is what it is. Good news on the grommets. I took some adhesive silicone and I siliconed a couple of these in a couple days ago, so that yesterday I could try these lights, and they do work really good. So I've ordered 60 more of these, so I'll have about 70 extras. These are the bushings, but we'll use them for something one day. I'm not going to return them. But anyway, that's good. These will work. So when I get the holes on the other side all drilled out, we can start putting all those light bushings in. How far did I get? About that far. I have burned up one of the hole saws. I ordered 2 more. I had bought 3, and so I'm using the second of the 3, but I decided yesterday I better order 2 more. They just get to a point where they're about done, and they just come apart in a couple more holes. So I expect I'll get these drilled out today. Maybe we'll get all those bushings glued in, so they'll be good to go tomorrow. I ordered 5 or 6 rolls of 18 gauge copper wire. What I have here is 16 and 14, and we have very light loads on all the sliding and such. And well, I'm trying to keep things workable and compact and such. So that wire will be here today. That'll be good. And I ordered these handlebar buttons, and they came in yesterday. So they're just kind of sitting here, but this is going to give me, my turn signals, headlights, high, low beam, emergency flashers. Yep, this is supposed to be a headlight signal bump, bump, bump. I ordered a chrome headlight bucket and a LED headlight with a, I think it's got like a white halo, like a daytime running light, and then turn signals amber on each side. So I don't need additional turn signals hanging around. This can be clean and slim. So that is an original headlight, but it will never clean up, so we're replacing that. So this is cool. On this side would be like kill switch. I'll be able to hook all this up. This is, I think, headlight on. So yeah, headlight off. Marker lights and headlights and horn. No, starter. Yep. So I'm going to run all of these down in through here, probably through that hole, extend everything up, and we'll be able to get the relays and such that I have mounted under here relocated and get everything in one location. But I do need to be able to separate this motorcycle wiring from this wiring so I can lift this off. That I'll have to figure out just exactly how I do that, but for now, it's nice to have this. Then I can make a wiring diagram. You have any idea how crazy that's going to be? It's going to be crazy. So it's just going to be a lot to it. I think I've kind of thought it through, but it's going to take a lot to draw this out. But anyway, that's the update for now. I'm going to keep cutting and mounting and drilling and such pretty boring stuff, and then I'll stop and give you an update, and then probably after that next update we'll end this video and cruise on to something bigger, better, whatever. It's getting almost to Christmas time, and I have plenty to work on. All right, guys, catch you a little bit. All right, here's the last update for this video, boys and girls. It's coming along. Everything takes a lot of time. I have all of these grommets glued in today. I use some adhesive silicone, RTV adhesive sealant. It's like $6 at Harbor Freight. I got a couple tubes of it. It did just fine the other day, so I got all these in. Yep, I had actually missed one. I had to come back. Dang. So there's all my relays. It's not all of them. I got to put some more in. I think I need like 12. There's advantages to using relays in that I can switch things on by more than one means at a time without backfeeding anything. So I also put a shelf up here and put the battery charger there. Again, I went to Harbor Freight for that. I've actually done a video on that particular battery charger. It's sitting over here in the pile. I use the heck out of it. I like it a lot. So it was my charger of choice. Had I guess a 10% off coupon or something. Makes these, I think it's $69 and I got a 10% off coupon, so do the math. What I'm going to do though is use a connector or two of some sort for these cables, and cut these cables off at some point, and then be able to carry these clips with me and hardwire the wires to the battery. But should I ever need that battery charger to like take out of here and go help somebody charge their vehicle, which I've done in my DJ business as well, I'll be able to just unclip the leads. This will just be bungee corded down, take it with me, plug in the clip-on leads and use it. Bring it back, unplug the two leads, plug it back into the hardwire, and put it back in place and plug it in. Way to go. So that is that. So this is essentially the only thing that the generator is going to use. It's only going to power the battery charger is what I'm trying to say. So there's the plug for the AC side of the Honda generator, and that is what it's going to run, and that's all it's going to run. 350 watts, I believe, was the input for that, so I'm well within the range of the ability of this little generator. So that is that. I got the taillight brake light mounted. I started measuring out to start drilling holes in the rear, I needed to put this up so that I could adequately space everything. So I've got everything on the sides 2 inches on center. Everything back here will be the same, 2 inches on center. I mounted this as high as I could to this structure point, so when this door opens up, there is a gap. These will still go in the center of this steel. And I've been contemplating on how to cover this for some time. So I don't think I'll come over onto here. I think I will create this and bend it so that I attach up here and then go over the top with a few tabs, maybe every 2 or 3 inches tabs. And then when I put the roof on, it'll sandwich that together. I believe that's how this is going to work. I can just cut out for these. These are the supports for the grab handle, because remember, I've got a bumper-like deal on the back to carry gas cans, to carry 2 people, etc., etc. Handle to hang on to for a couple folks that are going for a ride across the pit area. So a lot of thought has gone into this thing, you guys. A lot of thought for months and months, since June. And here we are, almost Christmas. So gonna end this video here, guys. We're going to go on to just wiring now that most everything is in place or is getting in place. This light configuration is going to continue down here, by the way. We'll continue around the corner all the way across the bottom, and then across here as well to here. So they will line up this way. It'll be cool. It'll be cool. Not so much up here. I don't want to clutter up what was the original scooter. I have a feeling we're getting a little heavy on the rear, so it's not going to surprise me in the least if I need to probably put a couple coilovers. This has a transverse leaf spring, so it feels real tippy. So we need to throw a couple of little coilover springs, shocks on the rear, but that'll be fine. It's not squatting or anything, but I want it to support itself decent. And yeah, this is the fun part, but it's also time consuming. You're taking all those lights apart to get the grommets off of them, and yeah, you end up with boxes of miscellaneous and such. But hey, it's coming together. It's doing just what I wanted it to do. It's looking like I wanted it to look, and get the wiring done, and then we'll start thinking about sheeting this. So if you haven't watched all of these, I have white aluminum. Bought it from a local race supplier that actually builds bodies for race cars. He put in his annual big order of aluminum, and I bought 2 10-foot sheets, and they're comfortably parked outside under the carport and waiting for me to get to them. So all right, guys, thanks for watching the video. Please give it a thumbs up. Hey, watch another one while you're here. Join the playlist, or jump onto the playlist for 1955 Cushman. All of my Cushman videos for this vehicle are in that playlist, and you can go clear back to when I first got this thing years and years ago. Guys, thanks again. Thumbs up on the way out. We'll see you on the next video.